Hello and welcome to the Walk in Love podcast. I'm TJ.
And I'm Brooke.
And today we are going to continue our talk from last week on how we think differently, part 2.
Double symbol,
Yeah.
if only.
I went with the double symbol. That'd be great. Maybe we should install them here and here.
And I'm telling you, that's my ultimate drum kit. I want my drum kit split down the middle and on both sides of me. Because when I play drums, in my mind...
You're playing double symbol.
Yeah, it's out to the side. It's not in front of me.
Not like this.
No.
No. You're out here.
I'm out here.
That makes sense.
Jamming. So it's like a 1 part, 2 part. Maybe there's magnets in the middle. So if I needed to really solo hard, they're on wheels. I could push it back together. Magnets would combine back to one drum kit.
Okay.
And then I could kick it in the middle and it would split back into 2.
Okay.
I think people would be into that. No idea.
Okay.
Are you asking
I'm
Chat
working on
GPT? I'm like, why are you typing? Anyway, y'all, welcome to the Walk in Love podcast. Thank you for being here. Thank you for making us part of your week. Our podcast is a weekly conversation between TJ and myself about emotions, rhythms, marriage, parenting, faith, drum kits, all sorts of good stuff. It's a place where we laugh and sometimes cry as we try to find language to live a full life. And you are in the right place if that is what you want.
If you're
to laugh and cry and
find
have
language to live a full life, and if you want to hear Brooke's inventions.
Yes.
You're also in the right place for that. Okay.
You have a lot of them.
Do you want the drum ad first, or do you want our regular ad first?
I'll take the regular ad first. It's written by a robot?
Yeah. All our ads from now on are written by robots with little to no
editing. Okay.
Okay. I want to tell you how I got to the advertisement.
What was the prompt?
How much would each episode cost if there were 160 episodes and the total cost was 32? ChatGPT does its thing.
Wait.
We're on episode
$32, meaning like a t-shirt. Okay.
So if you bought a t-shirt, if you wanted to support the podcast, which we would love for you to support us.
Yes.
And you wanted to pay per episode.
To listen. In theory. Got it. I'm with you.
By buying one t-shirt.
Okay.
For $32 or $36, depending on where you're going.
Okay.
You would pay.
No, please don't ask me to do math.
Do you think just take a guess. What would that cost?
I still don't know if I fully understand it. How many episodes could I listen to?
160. This is episode 160.
Oh, I'm assuming I'm listening to all of them.
You listen to all of them.
And I'm only going to buy one shirt.
Yeah. How much would you pay per episode?
Not a lot.
Well, guess.
I don't want to guess.
Come on.
I don't know.
Come on. Please just guess for me.
I really don't want to guess because I don't know. And there's no freaking calculator on my iPad, which is doubled up strong feelings.
There is no way right now you're going to guess.
12 cents. I have no idea.
Oh, that's close. 20 cents.
Okay, cool.
You'd pay 20 cents per episode if you listen to every episode and you bought one t-shirt.
Nice.
So with that information, I asked our ad person,
our new hire,
our new hire, can you write a podcast ad based on that equation, encouraging people to buy a t-shirt from our spring collection?
Oh boy. All right.
Ready?
Yeah.
I should find like a robot voice to read this stuff.
That exists on like TikTok.
Hey, podcast listener, do you love our show and want to show your support? How about doing it in style with one of our awesome t-shirts from our spring collection? Not only are our t-shirts comfortable and stylish, but they're also affordable. In fact, we've done the math and figured out that each episode of the podcast would cost just 20 cents if you bought one of our t-shirts for $32. That's right. For the price of a cup of coffee, you can not only support our show, but also get a high-quality t-shirt.
20 cents. What is he in the... Is it 1920? For the price of a cup of coffee?
That's right. For the price of a cup of coffee, you can not only support our show, but also get a high-quality t-shirt you'll love wearing all season long.
I bet it was even cheaper then.
Plus, our spring collection has a variety of colors and designs to choose from, so you can find the perfect t-shirt to match your style. So what are you waiting for? Head over to our website and check out our spring collection today. And remember, each t-shirt you buy not only supports our show, but it also helps continue to bring you the content you love. Thanks for listening and happy shopping.
Wow.
That was pretty good.
Chatty.
So the collection is open till March 15th through March 15th, which is really March 16th by the time I wake up and take it all down. So I give like a little buffer there.
Yeah.
But yeah, honestly, like if you want to support the podcast, if you want a great t-shirt, that's a reason to buy.
Yes.
Solo. Great t-shirt, quality, they'll last forever. I have shirts that are over a decade old in my closet. That's one reason to buy a t-shirt. The other reason is it is the literal best way to support the Walk in Love podcast. So if you want to pay 20 cents per episode, and buy a shirt. It allows us to do what we do. So,
oh boy,
can you write a podcast ad for a drum set on wheels that's magnetic in the middle? That's all I.
Okay,
that's all I gave
it. Technically, it's split into two. I guess it doesn't.
Should I add that?
I don't know. Did you pre-read it or no?
No, I'm.
Of course not.
Well, I didn't know you were going to talk about drum sets.
Oh, I didn't either.
Hey there, fellow music lover. Have you ever wished you could take your drum set with you wherever you go? Well, now you can with our drum set on wheels. This innovative drum set features magnetic technology in the middle, allowing you to easily detach and reattach pieces for easy transport. And with its sturdy wheels, you can roll it wherever you need to go, from gigs to rehearsals to your friend's house. But that's not all. Our drum set on wheels also features high quality sound and a versatile design that's perfect for drummers of all levels, whether you're a seasoned pro or just starting out. You'll love the way our drum set sounds and feels. So why settle for stupid stationary drum sets?
Does it say? It doesn't say stupid.
You can have one on wheels. Head over to our website today and check out our magnetic drum set. You won't find anything else like it on the marketplace.
That's true.
Thanks for listening and happy drumming.
I highly doubt there's any actual drum sets on wheels, because when you play them, those wheels would have to lock into place so hard.
Yeah.
That it wouldn't move and start to gravitate away from you. But maybe the magnets keep it together. So as long as your stool's on wheels, you just move with it. And you see Matt drumming with just double kick, flying like just. Oh, there he goes. A little to the left.
He's coming back.
He's back. It's like a little crab. Anyway.
All right.
Well, I'm going to read a review.
Okay.
That a real human wrote and not a robot.
All right.
So title of the review. Oh, so you're a gum chewer. 5 stars. Wow. Each episode gives you a real life look into daily life of a family striving to follow Jesus in a world where comfort is so easily found. They not only make you laugh and cry from laughing so hard, obviously. Brooke and TJ give practical tidbits on reflecting how you desire to live your life like Jesus. Not only do they give you the language to live life to the fullest, they also give you hilarious stories to remember and not take life so seriously. Highly recommend more than 5 stars, but I guess 5 stars will do. Thank you, Brooke and TJ, for being a bright light in the world. Okay, I love you. Bye. Anonymous butt clencher via Apple Podcasts.
Wow. Well, the old Enom.
What was
Anon
that
BC.
from? Who was that? Somebody. It was
Phoebe there?
Okay. Part of me says it actually happened to my dad, but then the other part of me is like, did I just read a meme of it?
I don't know.
I think this happened to my dad.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
About Anon writing all these amazing things.
No.
Okay, so I think it happened to somebody I know and not just like an internet thing, like a today years old when I learned. I think it was him, and he was like, man, this Anon guy like just writes killer stuff all the time. And then my mom was like, you know that means anonymous. Like they don't know who wrote that. It's like, that makes way more sense.
That adds up.
Crushing it.
All right, Brooke.
Classic Anon.
Sounds a little inappropriate. Anon?
What was Adnan. What was the guy's name in that?
Oh, yeah.
Cereal podcast? Adnan? Adnan.
Adnan.
Did he do it or did he not do it?
I don't know.
The ultimate question.
That is a good question. Not one we're going to answer today, though.
No, but you could answer it in our community page. Did you listen to Serial back in the day?
Back in the day, season 1.
Yes, I never listened past season 1. It kind of changed.
Super viral.
And what do you think? Do you think he did it or not?
Yeah. Okay, so community page is up. You can join it. Anybody can join it.
Yeah.
It's free. Not for us, but for you.
Oh, we got to add that into the $32. All of our expenses divided by.
Okay, community page. You can go there and post, sort of like Facebook, but without all the other stuff to distract you.
How your grandma.
But I would try to encourage you, like, first person to the page, if you want to say this Serial thing. Yeah. You listen to Serial. I listen to Serial. Here's what I thought. Mm-hmm. Next person, just comment on that post. Don't make a new post that's like, I listened to Serial. Here's what I thought. So I would much rather see like threads of comments.
I can
catch up
read
quickly.
in real time. Yeah.
than like a million different posts all talking about the same thing.
Yeah.
Just a thought. But you can join via the show notes or walkandlove.circle.so is the website. But it's been really great. There's like there's a place to talk about episodes. There's a place to introduce yourself. There's a place to post podcast memes. If you hear anything then you want to make a meme about it, that's the place for it. And then random, which is basically whatever you want. And then there's a live chat that's not really so much live. It's more of just like,
one big ongoing
group chat that you can jump in and say something and then jump out and come back later and see if they reply to all that kind of stuff. So it's been really great. We've really enjoyed seeing you guys interact. I love it because I can click as an admin, I can click on the membership page and I see all of your pictures that you've uploaded. And it's like,
and they're bigger than they are on Instagram.
And it's like, okay, yeah, like they're real people listening to the podcast. Like I know
it's not just robots.
I know that to be true. It's not just Anon and his Anon friends, Anon and the Anons playing on magnetic drums.
I'd support them.
So have you guys ever seen this band Anon and the Anons? They play
Would you say it twice?
It sounds inappropriate.
Then it sounds inappropriate. Anon. But that doesn't sound as much like a name. That sounds like anonymous.
Anon and Anon, they're drumming duo. They both play on magnetic drums.
Whoa.
And in their show,
so then
they're like,
you sync them all.
Shunk for a mega drum.
And it's like a quad.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm into it.
So yeah, I've been really encouraged by that because it is, I'm just doing this here in our bedroom with Brooke and sometimes it's like, is this weird?
Saying it that way is very weird. But no, I don't think all of it's weird.
But it's helpful to see that real people listen.
Yes.
And that's why the reviews help. And that's why I like the community page. I really wanted to do that. So go join that. And we'd love to have you over there. No segments today because we're in collection week. And so it's...
all of my brain power has gone into that.
to writing words for that.
True statement.
How was your week? It is collection week. So go buy a t-shirt. I'm going to say it every time.
Sure. Yeah.
We'll bring it up.
My week was good. It was heavily spent doing that. Am I in the right time frame zone that last week when we recorded, your sister was on her way here? Is that the same weekend and the same time?
No.
We're off. I'm off a week.
Yeah.
There's a whole week in between. Apparently my week was great. I don't remember any of it.
Right?
I don't know.
Yeah. No, they had just, we recorded on Thursday.
I know, but today's not. Okay. Anyway, it was good.
No, you're right.
Okay. I'm right.
They didn't just leave though.
I know I was right.
They weren't coming. They were just, where are they coming?
No, they were on their way.
They were on their way.
And
wow.
this is what I'm telling you.
Because right now we're recording on Sunday.
Which is off.
We normally do Thursdays, but we were launching on Thursday, so we didn't record.
So anyway, they left Saturday. It was a whirlwind of a trip for them, but because both Steph and Kyle are pilots, Steph literally flew the plane home, which continues to blow my mind. And then we got ready for the collection. We honestly, I shot photos of real people. Did we already talk about this? I'm so confused. You sure?
I'm 100% sure.
You double check those dates right now.
Because we...
Hold on. My iPad does have a calendar.
Normally, I listen to the podcast during the week to remember what we talked about. This past week, I have not. So you might be in for
kind of sort of listen to it.
Double stories. But you're here for it. You're here.
Anyway, I don't know what I did other than getting ready.
We got super ready for the podcast.
We
obviously did not get ready for the podcast. We did get ready for the collection.
Yes.
Because we launched the subscribers on Wednesday. I don't think you talked about the photos, and then everybody on Thursday.
Okay.
And now it's still open, so go buy a t-shirt.
Yeah. I was going to buy a t-shirt. It was all really great. We put in a lot of work and effort, which I'm very proud of us for. Stuff that we have. I feel like, and I think this is a true statement, I feel like I actually checked everything off the, hey, it'd be nice to do this before we launch list. I think I checked everything off for the first time in like 2.5 years. Yeah. And that felt amazing. Like, hey, I'm still capable of doing all these things and making all this happen and like showing up for our business because I believe in it so much. So that was really cool. Other than that, we were just like, I was trying to scoot my chair in, but the swivel legs on my thing are swiveled the wrong way. There we go. Yeah, literally, I think that's all I did.
Yeah.
Right?
100%. Yeah.
I'm like,
we sat at our computers so much that
we went to Chick-fil-A.
We did go to Chick-fil-A, which I'll get into. But yeah, like, and maybe some of you can relate to this if you do big projects, but you get to a point when you're doing like a big like a singular focus project.
Yeah.
That like, it's like you go a little nutty at your computer. And I feel like we hit that this week.
Oh, we had a day where we were, which again, typically doesn't happen because of kids and childcare lineup and all that. But the stars aligned and we had it. I did the math. We were side by side at our computers for over 7 hours.
Yeah.
Which again, I don't think has happened in almost 3 years.
Yeah.
For that length. And it was like, we were a little loopy
Yeah.
by the end.
And Brooke is a computer user / talker. So Brooke is.
I talk to my computer.
All the time.
Well, she supports me in my job.
No, you're not talking to her. You are talking about you're talking to yourself about what you're doing. Like you are literally saying, I'm going to go click, click, click. Okay, now I'm going to go over here. Okay, let me go say that. Okay, where did I put that? Okay, it's over here. Oh, what folder is that in?
That's
What
not
did
right.
I call
Why
that?
did I title it that? Retitle.
For 7 hours, which I loved.
Maybe that's why you went loopy.
Maybe a little bit. But usually when we're doing the collection, we always try to like not put the pressure on us to have dinner ready and all this kind of stuff.
Oh, every single night, make
every
a full
single
blown
night,
meal.
just because it's
That's
just
hard.
like it's too much, and we know
so
that.
I suggested we went to Chick-fil-A,
So we went to
which we
Chick-fil-A.
do anyway.
We probably do like once every other week.
Maybe every 3 weeks. It comes and goes. It kind of depends on how many
Once
gift cards
every
we
week?
have. I mean, that's a possibility.
Once every 2 weeks.
Anyway, normally
Once every 4 weeks.
it's very real.
All right, let me
normally,
throw this one at you. Once every 5 weeks.
Oh my word, we're still going. Normally, can I keep going? Can
That
I
is
keep
such
going?
a deep cut of The Office.
Is it though? I feel like it's.
I don't feel like people let us know on the community page. Do you get that reference?
Yeah, I do think we've explained it before.
Yeah.
But anyway, normally when we go to Chick-fil-A, we order in advance on the app. Please stop.
If you get through this story, that'd be great. We got a podcast to talk about.
Oh my goodness, I don't have to tell this story. Normally we order on the app. We go click, click, click. We order in advance. We say, I'm already at the restaurant, even though that is a bold-faced lie.
Yeah.
We are not at the restaurant. I just want my food ready. But June was adamant standing in line to order from the real person. She just likes that part. So we are in line. We are ordering. It's not very busy. So it's like us. There's like 3 registers open. We're in the middle one. And the register to the left, I'm going to let TJ take over. I've already ordered my stuff. I have a baby on my hip and I'm looking at him and I'm like, what is happening? And I'm kind of starting to walk away towards a table. But he has entered Chick-fil-A to order.
I'm going to call him Slater.
Okay, sure.
Okay. Slater loves surfing.
For sure.
Slater rarely wears a t-shirt.
Yeah.
Slater definitely has leathery skin from being in the sun so much.
Yeah. But he's also only like 20.
27, maybe.
Maybe.
Slater
I also feel like he consumes a certain version of plants, maybe.
Yeah, Slater definitely, he's sort of on a plant-based diet.
But not
but not with what he eats, just with what he inhales.
Yeah, okay.
He may or may not live in his van.
Yeah.
There's a
high chance he lives in his van.
I
also don't think he's ever been to a Chick-fil-A.
This
based on this experience.
This is Slater's first visit to Chick-fil-A.
Okay.
But he's psyched. And let me say this. Slater might live in a van. He might inhale plant and exhale it on a regular. But he's a great dude.
He's just living his life.
He's just living his life. He's psyched to be at Chick-fil-A,
Yes,
which we experience. This guy walks
within a very close
Slater
distance to us.
Oh. If you're watching on YouTube, you can see me look at the menu. Oh, man. All right. Well, hey.
He notices the lady in
How
front
are
of
you?
him.
Yeah, okay.
Who is this like super kind, kind of bigger woman.
Man, I never been here.
And she's like trying to get his name. And are you dining in?
Yeah.
Or are you like she's trying to ask him information.
Right. Well, oh man, okay, I'll take a chicken sandwich. You guys like that? Okay, would you like the meal or did you like
Yeah.
Oh man, like what comes with the meal? Oh, fries. Let's go. All right, yeah, I'll take a fry. Okay.
What kind of drink would you like?
Oh no, I don't know, man. Bro, I'll take a Coke. Yeah.
Okay, a Coke with your meal, and then would you like any complimentary sauces?
Oh, are these all your sauces, bro?
This is not an exaggeration.
Let's go. Oh man, do I just take them from here because
they're like glued down to the
they're
top
lined
of
up on top of the beverage?
The beverage thing.
Oh, do I just
like no, just let me know. You can have up to 3. Which would you like?
All right. Okay. Well, I feel like I gotta go Chick-fil-A. Is
Yeah.
that good?
Uh-huh.
All right. Honey mustard. Let's do it. And I don't know. Maybe like a Polynesian,
Yeah.
bro. Like,
No, you missed my favorite part.
okay.
He asked for the Chick-fil-A, then he asked for the Polynesian, and then he goes, mustard. And he put his arm up in the air like,
Oh, honey mustard.
Honey mustard. That was the ending. And I was like, I'm walking away
All right.
before I laugh
Slater.
at this human.
So Slater was jazzed. I think he took it to go. We didn't see him in the restaurant.
Yeah.
He probably ate in his van.
He had to check on his plants. For sure.
He's growing some plants in his van that he had to check on. But that was definitely a highlight.
Oh,
of
for
just
sure.
Like,
So all week, kid you not, this is one thing I do remember about all week. Many times I have said mustard and put my arm in the air like, doing it. Righteous. Honey mustard. Okay.
So that's really the only recap we have from the week.
Yeah.
Other than yesterday.
Oh.
Yesterday was Sabbath for us. And
What
so
was yesterday?
it rained off and on all week pretty heavily. And like
Yeah.
when it rains, we don't really love going in the water because it can kind of be murky, and the murk attracts a large fish that will eat you in half.
Yeah.
So we just avoid it.
Yeah.
Not that that's going to happen, but
Right.
gotta play it safe.
Could, but
Hey, you're
Oh,
all
gosh.
good. My nightmare.
no, my nightmare last night was that I fell asleep while recording the podcast and I could not wake myself up. You're oblivious. Like nobody knows I'm asleep,
Okay.
but I'm asleep.
So your eyes are open, or?
I'm not. I mean, I think I was laying on the table, but I think you just
But
like
no one
thought it
knows.
was fine.
Oh,
I was like fooling everyone, like when you sleep in school. And then I woke up and I was like,
Ultimate
I have
break.
no idea what TJ is talking about, but he's been talking this whole time. I got to just jump in like I know something. And then I woke up.
And then you woke up. Okay, so normally we go to the beach on Sabbath, but yesterday we're like, okay, it's been
It's
raining.
gross. Let's not.
Let's just not do it. So we decided to drive to Lahaina, which is on the west side of the island.
Yeah. Maybe 30, 35 minutes to
there's
where
like
we
a
were
little-
going.
There's like a little mall there that has like a splash pad. It's
Quote, unquote.
literally just like a fountain in the middle of the mall.
It's like a kid's area though.
Yeah.
It's like a climbing tower
Yeah,
and
and
some
our
places
girls
to sit.
love it. And so
And we knew Daisy would love it. She's
and,
never been.
And so we decided that's what we're gonna do for Sabbath. Just get out of the house, because that's like always been good. That's a good rhythm for our family to like get out of the house Sabbath morning and do a family activity together.
Yeah.
And so we go. We're having fun in the splash pad. We stayed way longer than we thought, and we're like, all right, let's go. We start to drive back, and we hit traffic. So there's only one road that goes along that side of the island from Kihei to Lahaina. We
Yeah.
live in Kihei. And traffic stops, and we're like, oh man, this does not seem good.
Yeah.
People start driving the other way, kind of out their window, doing this like
Giving us the like
this hand motion,
hand
just
motion
turn around,
of like
turn around.
turn around.
We don't know what that like. I know what that means, but I'm like, okay, like
Turn around like you can see far ahead of us and you literally know we need to turn around, or you're just suggesting.
yeah. And so we wait there for maybe like 20 minutes. We let
At least,
kids
yeah.
unbuckle, like we're not moving, and so then we're like, all right, let's just go back to Lahaina.
I'd rather kill time back in town, eat something, walk
Yeah.
around. We had our swimsuits. We could have gone to the beach. Then
just didn't have a
sit
towel.
there.
we had one towel.
We had one towel. Then sit there for what could have been. I mean, I've heard about that road closing and it being like 2 to 6 hours.
So we turn around, and we don't have service where we are on the road.
Correct. There's
So we have
no
to turn
service
around,
there.
but go back to Lahaina to look it up. There's been an accident. I guess the default is when there's an accident on that road. Unfortunately, it's usually a fatality. So they have to like shut down the whole, their default is like they shut down the road.
Mm-hmm.
And so we learned that like the road is closed. You can't go. So we're in Lahaina, but we didn't have like our full beach stuff. We didn't have sunscreen. Like we just weren't as prepared.
Well, it's because I didn't think.
Yeah,
I thought we were going to a splash pad for an hour
and
and a half.
so we
I only had 3 diapers.
we hung around there for 7 more hours
Yep.
until.
So we went to a food truck. We got food.
We walked
and then
around
we
a
walked through this other
mall.
mall I didn't know existed, which was half empty.
And our kids, like, we went back to the splash pad. we
went downtown, saw the oldest banyan tree on the island.
And then
we did all sorts of stuff.
And then we still sat in traffic. Like the backup is so extreme that even after waiting 7 hours, and then the road opened at 5 p.m. and we didn't leave until 7 p.m. to head home.
Yeah, we were
It
just
was
like
still
giving it time.
over an hour of traffic that we sat in. And so I go to church this morning to teach Sunday school. And I'm like, hey, how you guys doing? They're like, oh, we're kind of tired. And I'm like, yeah, me too. Like, I was stuck in line all day. They're like, oh, so are we. And so it's just like, and so then I learned that like any accident on the road, they just shut it down.
It's a default
closing
of the
close
road.
down, because normally it's like someone's died.
Yeah.
And they have to like fly in a helicopter to get to them. And like, it's
Right.
this whole thing.
Yeah.
And so now I know. Don't go to Lahaina if you have plans in the afternoon. But I just kept thinking about all the people that are like,
well, the sweet lady over here is a conversation between TJ and I while we're standing under the giant banyan tree. And she was like, oh, well, she like joins in, you know. Oh, well, did you check the Maui 24/7 Facebook group or something? They said it's going to open at 5 or whatever. And she was like, she kept going. And then I was like, I know, well, we live in Kihei, so I just want to go home. And she's like, well, I'm paying a lot of money for a nice hotel room over there right now, and I would like to be there.
yeah.
And I was like, yeah.
That adds up.
Everybody was like, let's do Lahaina for the day. Oh, they'll never do it again.
All I could think of is like the airplane's landing, like not even someone coming from the Northeast, which is just a hard trip period. But like, let's just say someone coming from Denver.
Sure.
Sally, Jake, and their 2 kids are coming from Denver.
Yeah.
And
still a travel day.
it's a 9-hour flight.
Right.
They land.
Yeah.
They're
pumped.
They're pumped.
They're pumped. They have a rental car or an Uber.
They got an Uber. It's ready to roll. It's in the parking lot. They are booked at the Kanapali Shores. They're just going to stay there. They're super stoked. The kids are just tired enough that if they get to the hotel quickly, they can put them down for a nap, rally, and then enjoy the night.
Okay. Nope.
So
Light those dreams on fire.
But how would they know?
You don't, unless the Uber driver had some sort of like which they might have like an app or something, one of those like user generated ones that like people can like flag things.
Like, what do you do?
You wouldn't.
What do you do then? Just drive around with your...
If that was us, that's hard if you don't know the area at all.
Yeah.
If we knew the area we were going to, I would have said, Uber driver, please take us here instead.
Yeah.
And
that
we're gonna kill time here.
Yeah.
But
like, you have all your luggage, like...
Oh, I know. You're probably not in... Well, I guess you have your luggage. You could change. But
yeah.
I overheard somebody else at the mall on the phone. I don't know what to do. We're stuck here, and I've already put my leggings on. And she's like walking up and down the mall. And I was like, are you trying to get to the airport? So many people must have missed their flights.
100%. So
you were like a standby's dream. All these people.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's a standby's dream. You're getting first class on that flight if you're a standby.
Because nobody showed up.
Everybody's stuck in Lahaina.
Anyway.
Or they're stuck in Kihei trying to get their luggage from Lahaina. Anyways.
There's a whole
that was our whole day.
That was our day.
And honestly, like there were parts of the day where I was just like, I had my Radiate Joy shirt on. I was like, just do it, TJ. Like, you're just going to be here. You have nothing else planned. This is Sabbath. Like, it was honestly like a lesson in Sabbath that just like, it can be something different than what you expected, and it can still be restful and peaceful. Yeah. And then the other thing was like, I know that like the 20 minutes from like 10 minutes before we get home to through bedtime are not going to be great. Like, kids are tired, they're emotional, they have not been there all day. Like,
we didn't have a stroller. I didn't have a baby carrier. Again, thought we were going to a splash pad for an hour and a half.
Joke was on us. And so it's like, I feel like always having those conversations between you and I of like, these next 20 minutes are not going to be great. So like, let's not get mad at each other based on what's melting down in front of us. Let's just get through it. And then in the morning, they'll be back to normal. And they were. And so it was great. So that was the other thing that happened this week. But the big thing,
Slater wasn't over there.
Slater would have just really like, I mean, I definitely saw some Slaters by the banyan tree, and I smelled them too. But it was great. And yeah, it was just a good week. So today we're going to continue our conversation from Integrated, from the first talk Jeremy Pryor gave to us at Integrated about the 6-way. So his main thing was like, be a part of a conspiracy. We kind of went over this last week, and I'll just touch on it real briefly. Like, you know, if you homeschool your kids, you're part of a conspiracy. Like
that there's a
better way or a different way. Or if you run your own small business, you're like,
I could do this.
I
I'm
can
gonna
do this
this.
a different way. I can, live my life a different way. Fitness, health, like we are all probably part of many conspiracies in our lives.
Let's think differently and see how
Let's it goes. And
Yeah.
and a lot of like innovation
Slater's part of a
and
conspiracy for sure.
Slater has quite a few.
He might be the leader of some sort of tribe. I don't know.
And so Jeremy kind of talked about these 6 ways that we think differently, specifically for the integrated group. But I feel like integrated has been such a huge sort of inspiration to the way Brooke and I live that it's like that this is the way we think differently too.
Yeah.
And if you're listening to this podcast, there's probably a good chance that you want to think differently too.
Yeah.
Both in the way that you do your lives and raise your kids and talk to each other and communicate and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah. I feel like what's little side rant just about integrated or even the concept of it. I feel like there's these things in life. I don't know what to call them. I'm going to call them like markers or like flags.
Waypoints.
In the ground, in the sand, whatever. Like these moments where I'm like, oh, I can pinpoint back to that. That's when we started thinking differently. Or I can separate like my life before that and my life after that.
Yeah.
And it's really cool because I feel like we have many versions of those every time you go to somewhere like here.
Yeah.
I can be like, oh, that was like before that integrated. And then that was after that one.
Yeah.
And that's really cool. And that's the power of doing something like this repeatedly because it gives you those kind of markers in time, it's just really powerful.
Yeah. And I won't hint at it, but I want to.
Please don't.
But I want to.
I know you do.
And
You want to hint at everything for all of time.
Oh, of course.
And I'm like, I don't know. Maybe let's have a conversation about it first.
Well, we have.
Oh. Which one?
Your thing.
My thing?
Your thing.
Alone? No, what did I say?
By myself?
I said that earlier today.
So
Number one
was
rhythms over goals.
Rhythms over goals. Number 2, and again, you can listen to last week's podcast.
Yes.
159. Team over the individual.
That was good.
Number 3, integration over balance. And number 4 was assets over career. And so
we didn't get into 4.
We didn't get into 4. So that's number
Okay.
that's number 1 for today. Number 4 from the list.
Ooh, it's like backwards Star Wars. Number 4 is number 1, but number 1 is number 4.
And the last 3 are bad.
1970.
So a career path and asset development has an inverse relationship.
Okay.
So you think of it just like, so you want to develop assets. That's like real estate, investing, like things that gain value over time.
Right.
This is a really generic definition.
Okay.
In the hopes that like your assets then can be a part of what you do as a multi-generational family. Like you don't want to just
you'll continue to use them to like
reach the goal, whatever the family goal is.
Okay.
And so a career.
Pause. Are all assets financial? Like that's what we're talking about?
That's what we're talking about in
Okay.
this regard. And
Okay.
for number 4, yes, definitely assets are financial. And so
Okay.
like we talk about real estate a ton in the group because it's such like it's a asset that, gains value over time, rich
Right.
dad, poor dad, all that kind of stuff, like super valuable asset to have in most cases. But at a career, so he kind of lines out 2 different paths. So there's a career path and the asset path.
Okay.
A career path at 50, so you're 50
Years
years old. So for me, that would be 12 years from now.
Yowzas. What?
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
I know.
That does not feel that far away. You do not seem that close to 50. That means I'm only a year and a half behind you.
June will be 20. Yeah, because we had
That feels further away.
Yeah.
That's weird.
Anyways, so on the career path at 50, you're probably the busiest you've ever been, which makes sense. Like you start at a company or you start at
You're
like a
on the
level,
rise.
You're like a entry level position in a let's say you work in a marketing field.
Okay.
At the beginning, you're an entry level position. Then then maybe you're a content creator, and then maybe like you manage content creators, and then you're like you manage all of the marketing department, and then like you work your way up, and then by 50, you're working as a VP of marketing for X or corporation.
Yeah.
Which is a
For Magna Drums.
For Magna Drums, you're the VP of marketing.
Okay.
Super high level position with a ton of a ton of responsibility. So at 50 now, you have the job that you've been working for your whole career.
Yeah.
But now you're the busiest you've ever been.
Yeah.
The asset path is you're building assets for your family so that at 50, you actually have the opportunity because of these assets that you've built to work with your family, with your daughter who's 20 on her on her business,
right,
or something she wants to do for her family,
right.
and so it's this like sort of like which 50 sounds better, or 60 or 65. Like, like I don't feel like at 50 I'm going to have a ton of assets, but I don't know what the next 12 years hold.
Right.
But, so maybe it's 55 for us or 65 or whatever, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Like I haven't been buying real estate since I was 18, like some super geniuses are, which is like, why didn't school teach me?
Yeah.
And so
can I ask, and maybe it was talked about, maybe it wasn't. I'm assuming it wasn't because these people are already in this group and that's who this talk is for. But like, how do you get assets without a career like that?
Well, you start a business, you work on your own business, you steward your financial responsibilities well. So like
you steward it's a mindset thing.
Yeah. So like I have a friend
stewarding it towards asset and that sort of thinking.
Yeah. So like I have a friend who he lives in Pennsylvania. He has been buying real estate since he was like 21 years old. That this whole time he's been doing that, he has also been working a full-time job. But there will come a point
but some of his full-time job money is going into those.
Yeah, it's all funneling here, so that at one point, so while these assets are like not really cash flowing or whatever, you might be supporting your family some other way. All of us in Integrated are doing that through our small business. Right. And then it's like all of a sudden this small business has less responsibility because these assets are now worth. Yeah. They are. Specifically with real estate, like they're cash flowing positive. So like I'm living off of these assets and now I have all this time. Or in the career path, I'm living off of this great career that I have. I'm making more money than I've ever made. But
you have to put in that much time to keep making that much money.
And so we are all, this is why it's a conspiracy. We are all taught to follow the career path. Yeah. And some of us may have experiences with our parents where our parents weren't around because they were so busy with their high paying job. And so there's this question of like, which one's, and again, I'm not saying you have to do one or the other. Correct. Like you don't have to be part of this part of the conspiracy, but there are other options. I think we're taught one way all the time, forever, or at least in this sort of current experiment of the westernized family. And I don't feel like it's turning out well for people. And so that's why Integrated has become such a huge source of inspiration for us, because it's given us another option. Something that we've felt in our bones has been given language to actually test and experiment. And I was listening to this podcast by Donald Miller recently, where he's a Business Made Simple podcast, great podcast. But in the episode, he just kept talking. He kept using this phrase, chasing curiosity.
Yes. I think you mentioned that last week, maybe.
No, I mentioned it on my class.
That's where you talked about it. I was like, I heard you say this.
And I just love that phrase. And so like we started chasing curiosity with taking a Sabbath. Yeah. And now it's led us to this path of rich, full, joy-filled life that we would have never experienced if we weren't chasing curiosity. And so I'm not telling you, like, if you have a great career that you love and you don't want to run your own business, I'm not telling you that that's the only way. Right. But I'm saying that there is sort of this, like, there are two paths, career path and asset path, and which one do you want to go down? Right. Now they can kind of cross over, I think, at times. Yeah. And so, but just that image at 50, what does that look like? Are you the busiest you have ever been, or can you have peak integration with your family? At 50, do I have more time for my girls who are just starting out to figure out what they want to do with their lives, or the job they want to have, or the business they want to own, or whatever? Or am I maxed out capacity wise and all I want to do is come home and sit down and relax at the end of like a super stressful long day? So it's just, that's the question he proposed. Yeah. And one thing that he said, especially because like this is a question that a lot of guys ask, is like, what if my kid doesn't want to do what I do? And he said, and I love this line, I don't want to force my kids to do the work that I don't want to force my kids to be with me, but I for sure want it to be an option. And I want it to be such a sparkly option. Yeah. Like I get to do what dad does, or I get to do what mom does. Like, absolutely. I want that to be my future. And I think we've lost that a lot. Like, and I think that's why. Oh yeah. Cause the alternative is the super individualized. Yeah. Like, and again, I'm not saying I'm not going to ask my girls, what do you want to do? Like,
their mission and calling in life is not the same as mine. Like, I'm not going to force mine onto them, but there did used to be this like passed down knowledge trade type stuff that like, maybe it's not what they do forever, but maybe it gets them up on their feet and going to figure out the direction that they're headed. And
it gets them part of the family team and the family mission. And Jeremy said this, when you start stewarding assets well, it attracts the children to work with you. And honestly, that's what I want. I want lifelong relationships with my kids. I do not want them to end at 18 or to fizzle at 18 and become this like, twice a year bump where I talk to them, So that was good. And that one was definitely much more geared towards sort of like the financial business stuff, which is not something that we talk about a lot
on here. Yeah. But it is like, so if you have the two different mindsets, the career, the assets mindset, it's all about multi-generational. Yeah. And like, that makes it feel even better and more different, because it's like, how do you pass on just a career? Yeah. Three generations down.
Like my
grandkids are my great grandkids, and I'm not saying they have to take our actual business and run it literally like we do.
But what
That's
if there's
not what I'm hoping to pass down?
Something there for them to then go start their pie shop.
Right. No, we have a different idea.
Go ahead. Tell them.
Am I allowed to say the name or no?
I think so. Again, Brooke and I'm a devout Christian, but I married Brooke, who's hella Christian.
Yes.
So there's a different level of holiness here.
Okay, sure.
So let me just preface that but the other day, I'll set you up this time. Our go-to Sabbath dessert lately has been Rice Krispie treats.
They're so good. They're easy to make. Did I mention they're so good?
They're so good. They might be my favorite treat. We did ice cream for a long time, and now we've kind of transitioned into, we're in a crispy season. So,
but they're also gluten-free, which is great for me and June, who sometimes eats that way.
Yeah. And so I was just in Austin, and I went to this place called Voodoo Donuts, which was very tasty, and the donuts were
I wouldn't have gone there as a Christian, but it's fine that you did.
Yeah, and I prayed before I walked in and prayed after I left. Prayed while I ate the donut. And so I didn't know it was a chain, but people messaged me. I was like, oh, I love that. Like, and I was like, oh, this must be a chain. So then I had the idea the other day while you were making the Rice Krispie treats. Why isn't there like a Rice Krispie version of like a chain donut shop? Like there's Duck Donuts, there's Krispy Kreme. Yeah. Like why isn't there like this
add your own topping style? I don't know what to call that kind of.
But it doesn't even have to be that way. Like Voodoo Donuts, I didn't pick. Like
that's true.
They were just all like it's like an art.
It's like gourmet, fancy fun.
Gourmet, fancy. A little bit outrageous Rice Krispie.
1,000%. It's like the size of a brick that would build your home, and it's $8. And you're like, I don't care, because half of it's dipped in chocolate, and there's Oreos mixed in, and it
peanut butter,
it's minty, and it's this and it's that. I would go to a shop like that.
And so, tell them the name that you came up with.
I would like to name it Crispy AF. Which you don't know what AF stands for. You can Google that. Not around your children. But I would go to that shop. I would cover my kids' eyes as I walk in so they don't read it and go, what does that mean, Mom? I'd say, it doesn't matter. They're delicious.
Crispy is fun.
Crispy as fun. But anyway, someday I'll be taking investors for Crispy AF.
Yeah. Another Brooke invention.
Hey.
We didn't think we'd have segments
assets,
today.
Baby.
So we're making assets.
Assets with an anon.
Assets AF. All right. So number 5, in this 6-part thing that will probably last
40-part series
9 episodes
that we're breaking into 47 parts.
It's like the Harry Potter movies being 2 movies for the last book.
Yeah.
Outposts over cribs.
Okay.
So we believe that our physical houses are outposts for the kingdom of God.
Crib meaning a house, not a baby crib.
Yeah.
Okay.
Inside the house is where everything gets integrated. As you are building assets, we are thinking about our house being a place to taste and see the kingdom of God. There are definitely seasons where your house will be a nest or a retreat center, but don't get confused about heading toward an outpost. God is inviting people. We should be inviting people. Your house should be an expression of your unique family culture. When people walk into your family, they should walk into a theme park for your family. I hope that God turns off the spigot of blessing when we stop being when we stop being an outpost to others. And so the reason for Outpost is like, and I may have mentioned this years ago in some integrated talk, was that Jeremy was looking for, there's tons of stuff about family in the Old Testament. He's looking for something in the New Testament, and I'm going to butcher the story.
Sure.
But the main picture that we get in the New Testament of believers is Paul and Timothy, like single missionary dudes. And so Jeremy was really wrestling with this at one point of like, am I not stepping fully into the Christian calling by being a married man with the responsibility of a family? And so what ends up, again, I don't know the references, so excuse my naivety.
It's okay.
But there is a verse somewhere where it talks about the Christian family being the outpost for the missionary, like that you become sort of this like if there was no church on Maui, if there's no church in your town, or like you become the place where that can begin, that outpost for the kingdom of God. Like if the kingdom of God is the main castle, the outposts and all the other mini castles out in the land are protecting the land. They're expanding the land. They are becoming places where the land, like they are flourishing for the king. And so as believers, our homes should be less like cribs, MTV Cribs, and more like outposts for the kingdom of God. And he gets into this later and integrated about just like how like year 10 to 20 of being a family is like when you really start to figure that out and have language for that, which has sparked some really interesting conversations between Brooke and I. And so there are seasons, like we're definitely in the season of young kids. And so Outpost is probably not the best way we would describe it, but moving towards that is our goal. Yeah. And it also, like, you might be in your first home, which is not your outpost home. And so like, don't invest all this time and resources and energy and money into this first home to build your outpost. And then all of a sudden you're like, well, this wasn't it. Right. And Jeremy was like, I've done that. And I ruined the resale value of many homes doing that. And so, but it definitely just allows you to like shift perspective on like, what is this house for? And I love the idea of like, we are thinking about our house as being a place to taste and see the kingdom of God. Like I love that phrase. And I love that the power that phrase holds over the decisions you make for your home. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm all in on that.
Anything to add?
Not really. No. I feel like we'll just kind of beat a dead horse if I just reread everything. But
I think that phrase got canceled.
Beat a dead horse.
I think I think PETA canceled all those phrases.
Oh, well, sorry. Sorry, guys.
So we're going to beat a PETA protester.
Right. It's dead.
Just a joke, people. I remember hearing that, and they had like
was it real, or was it just like a making fun of?
No, they really wanted to cancel all those phrases, like
any phrase that involved an animal.
Yeah, kill a bird with two stones.
Can't do that.
I don't know the rest of them, but
I know, but
I remember them giving other examples and be like, that doesn't mean the same thing. These are terrible examples. Yeah. Anyways, you can say beat a dead horse, and we can kill two birds with one stone. Matt killed a bird last night in the girls' room, so I cleaned it all up. He did that with his claws in his teeth.
He did, because we were stuck in behind all day.
So, one thing that I have all these like sort of like sub notes within my notes. Yeah. Just like solid gold one-liners. Yeah. That Gandalf speaks. Shabbat. I'm only 6 days away from experience my truest identity. That'll preach. Okay.
And Shabbat meaning
Sabbath,
for people who don't know what that is.
To cease.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Number 6, generations over today. We believe if our kids get to see us honor our fathers and mothers, it's a very good thing. We believe in generations over like individualism today. Our culture is obsessed with how to care for children, but the biblical culture is obsessed with how to care for the elderly.
Read that again.
Our culture is obsessed with how to care for children, but the biblical culture is obsessed with how to care for the elderly. And that,
I mean, if I picture like a row, like a long line row of people, and I picture everybody looking, let's say to the right, down at their kids, And I picture what that looks like again and again and again and again. And then I picture a different line where everybody's looking the other way towards the older generation. I just feel like that would create some very different people in their
honor,
hearts, and in their lives, and in their just like,
and that's
I would say that those two lines would be different.
Yeah.
It's not the same people just looking the other way.
Yeah, and that's not saying that like just because a generation is older means they're wiser or they did things correctly and we're not, because later in the week we talked about like Jeremy was like talking about how he went to Asbury and his like main thing there was just like confessing the spirit of cynicism that had like reigned over their generation. And so like every generation has their terrible parts and their good parts. And so it's just more of like we're teaching our family that they are part of something bigger than just them as an individual. Our family is not a springboard for you to jump into an individual life where it's all about you and all about what you can do and who you are and what you want and all this kind of stuff, which is what culture is just screaming at us and screaming at our kids at full decibel volume. Do what you want, and if anybody tells you otherwise, they are an enemy. That is the pervasive language of culture right now, and it is damaging our families. It's damaging the way that we love each other. It's damaging our joy. It's damaging our productivity. It's damaging everything. Because it is all just super centralized focus, and we have to fight this off too. Like I have to fight this off daily. You know, because it's pervasive. And so one thing that I love that Jeremy said during this talk was like, we should be parenting our children to be good parents to our grandchildren, good grandparents, are good parents to our grandchildren.
Which we've talked about a little bit.
Like we're trying to raise good adults.
I'm trying to raise a functioning, smart, kind, emotionally intelligent 35-year-old or 50-year-old. Like I'm not done when our oldest is out of the house or whatever.
And so this is sort of the culture of integrated. I feel like this is sort of transitioned into the culture of how we live our lives.
Yeah, for sure.
And there may be parts of it.
Or at least it's a marker in time of like, hey, we're going to start having this conversation. And talk about what we're going to integrate and what we're not.
Yeah. And so
if there's anything we're not.
It is interesting. Like the Outposts over Cribs conversation for us, that has been like a conversation of like, is that Maui? Is that Maui or is that someplace else? Does the Lord, like, where does our outpost exist?
Explain to me the difference between, or if you know, outpost is not something that is used commonly in, like, I don't go to a small group or like a women's thing and we're all talking about our outposts. What maybe might get brought up or might be asked is like, oh, is this your forever home? That's a phrase in culture on Pinterest, on wherever. Of like forever home, meaning like, is this where you're planning to like stay?
I think.
Is it the same? Is it literally the same physical thing, but it's a different mindset?
I think it's 1,000% a different mindset, because our mindset should never be that our forever home is on planet Earth.
Well, that is very true.
And so I think we should get away from that language, period. Like as believers, as followers of Jesus, our forever home is standing in awe of God and worshiping him forever and ever.
But when people ask that, that's what they mean. Like, oh, you bought a new house, or you're thinking about it, or like, that's the term.
I believe
is this your forever
I believe home? That your outpost is like, is the place on planet Earth where you want on earth as it is in heaven, where you feel like the Lord has called you to make that place, that area, that region, that city, that town on earth as it is in
outside of
heaven.
the walls of your home as well.
Like you are the place where life is flourishing because Jesus is near and Jesus lives in that home. Jesus lives in that outpost. And the outpost is from like ancient, castle era sort of language where it's like,
I just Googled it. It's typically a small military camp or position at some distance from the main force.
And so the main, and it's checking in, it's communicating with the main force, talking about what's going on there, and if we're advancing, and where we're taking ground, and who we're protecting and all this kind of stuff. And so like us as believers, as Christians, like our homes are that outpost for the kingdom of heaven.
Yeah.
We are taking ground. We are in a city for a purpose. We are in a region for a purpose. And missionaries live with that kind of lifestyle.
Yeah.
But we have sort of taken it away from just the common evangelical Christian family.
Yeah. I mean, I speaking of like those markers in time where you're like, I remember when that was said and I remember what it made me feel, and I've never looked at things the same again. Like, so this was leading into my next question. You talking about it kind of being separated, that like culture has separated where we live from like missionaries. Like they're just two different things, and they're not connected at all. But then I was also going to ask, like, but isn't every home I'm talking about a physical home we live in, aren't they all an outpost? Because what I'm getting at is what I remember somebody saying one time is that our greatest mission field is under our feet.
Yes.
It's where we are right now.
1,000%.
And like, you don't wait for some physical home to then like, and there we are. And that's where we're starting to live this way.
I would say like it's both and. Like I would say it's both and. Like, you know, there are specific things like, you know, I'll use us as an example.
Okay.
We lived in a small 3-bedroom, really 2 and a closet house,
quote unquote,
in Pennsylvania, you know, which was our mission field. Like, you know, raising our girls to know and love Jesus, becoming, you know, more like Jesus. That is what we wanted to do there.
Yeah.
There is very little tactically we can do to have radical hospitality or to engage in, like, to be a place where people can come and find comfort in a house that small. Like tactically there was like,
it was hard. It was way harder. Yeah.
You know, here that option has expanded because the size of our house has expanded, but also the region that we live in. Like we now have this ability to give people the gift of rest that they might not have had elsewhere. And so that's part of our family mission. We are a family that loves Jesus, seeks rest.
Our family mission that and I'm speaking to you, the person listening, that TJ and I have talked about.
Yeah.
We feel like it's something we're called to. We've had many conversations. This is not a blanket.
No. Yeah, like, this is for us. And so like if your family mission is like much more evangelical to like, let's say a city culture, then like you shouldn't live in rural Ephrata, Pennsylvania, you know, like, but if it's like to raise ethical food that people can consume without worry, and that's like a big family mission for you, you probably shouldn't live in downtown Manhattan.
Right.
You know, like I do think the place, the mission that God has put on your family's heart to benefit and glorify the kingdom. Again, we are like the moon reflecting the sun. The rays are his glory, and we're just trying to reflect it to the earth. Like, I think that will determine where you live.
Yeah.
And so I do think that like, and he was really like, specifically like with developing your outposts, like he was saying like, don't waste time and energy if you don't feel like you've moved into that place yet.
Right.
Because he was like, and he said it, I've ruined the resale value of a lot of homes trying to do this too early. And if I could go back and redo it, because again, I think he's in his 50s.
I don't know, 12 years from now. Yikes.
And so he is giving all of us young guys advice on just the ways he did and didn't do it right. And so that's why it's so valuable. And it's like, that was one of the main things, but I would never say that he would be like, oh yeah, just wait till you get there. Like, and at no point was he saying that.
Yeah.
I do think that it's sort of like this evolving sort of timeline that you're on, this rhythm that you're on. But I do think that your physical location, I mean, God, obviously, like, we were born here for a reason. Like, you know, like we were born where we were born. We were born into the family that we were born into. Like there are physical reasons that God put us on earth. And so, you know, I think if we ignore those, we could be losing out on living fully for him. For sure. So yeah, I think that answered your question.
Yeah, it does. Yeah. I just feel like that's what I would have asked years ago. Like, okay, so am I just supposed to move, or am I supposed to wait until it's like my forever home?
But what's crazy is like, you know, we are having this conversation. Like, we never had this conversation in Pennsylvania.
No.
And I would have easily told you that, oh, like, this isn't the place we're going to live forever. Like, especially after we start having kids. Early on, I'd be like, oh yeah, we could live here forever. But the second we start having kids, we're like, no, this is not it. And so it's like, but now we're having it now in a place that's probably more suited for us to live forever. But because we want to be a team on mission and we want our kids to inherit that mission or to be a part of that mission in some way or add or expand that mission, then the conversation becomes much more less about the current situation we're in right before us, and it becomes less about the tree and more about the forest.
Right.
And it's like,
yeah,
that is so helpful. And it allows us to have harder conversations with less sort of like emotional like tenseness to it.
Yeah.
Because we can just have open palms about it and be like, Lord, where do you want us to achieve or to walk in faith in this mission? Where do you want us that to be for that?
Yeah.
It feels like it takes all the like pressure off.
It does for me.
And
that's something that is not typically the easiest for me. Like the total unknown, I don't know what's happening or where we're going or what we're doing. Like that typically makes me feel very swirly. And I don't feel
like
that at all.
Even me just sort of mentioning, like 5 years ago, if I had even just mentioned like, oh, this has had Brooke and I have conversations of whether Maui's for us forever or not. Like that would have made you tense up almost immediately. And I just said it and you were just like, yeah, like that's,
I don't know. I've said that since the beginning because we've had conversations without all this specific language, but we have had conversations of like,
and that's where it's like all connected is like, if we're living in rhythms over goals, through those rhythms, we're going to figure out who our team is and what our team is purposefully here for.
Yeah.
And once we figure that out, we're going to integrate them over balance.
Yeah.
And once we figure that out, well, our integration is going to lead to wanting to build assets instead of careers.
Yeah.
And that's going to allow us to, our assets are going to then allow us to build outposts for the kingdom of God.
Yeah.
And then that is going to allow us as an outpost, think of the generations to come. And so it's like, it's all connected.
It's all connected.
And it allows you to live with such clarity of purpose that I have never had before.
Yes.
And I've been a follower of Jesus since I was a teenager.
Yeah.
Even, basically my whole life, but really since, early college where it was like actually stuck. I mean, for Brooke, she's still naming her stores with bad words. So I don't know if it's stuck yet. And so, yeah, it's just like, and this is the brilliance of sort of this group and the conversations that we have with this group is like, man, I feel like we've been let down a little bit by
culture, the church.
Yeah. And I'm not a guy that's like, church is bad. Like,
no, not at all.
No one, I think it's mostly out of negligence. It's never out of malfeasance. Like most things in life that I feel like are wrong. It's never like, I don't think it's someone actively behind the scenes being like, I'm going to be evil. Does that happen? Absolutely. But I think most of the time it's just negligence. And like generationally, it was just negligence that like we've kind of lost some of this structure.
Yeah.
Because there was an easier path. And so it was like, let's just try this,
Right.
And we've done that. Like people do that in their day-to-day lives. And so it takes effort and conversation and openness of heart to really pursue these things.
Yeah. Effort for sure.
Yeah. And a little bit of courage because like when you start telling your family, we don't really do stuff on Saturday, like that takes courage.
What about sports? What about this?
What about this?
That? Aren't you worried about them?
Yeah.
I'm like, yes.
Yeah.
That is why.
That's why we've chosen.
I'm not worried about their soccer skills when they're 38.
Yeah.
Like, can they function as a human? Again, does soccer help you? Yes. Don't DM me. I'm just using it as an example.
Unless you want to DM me for a discount code to buy a t-shirt.
Hey. If you've never purchased.
Okay.
Here we go. We're just going to jump right into this.
All right. We're done with that.
Be gone. If by some miracle, I feel like it would be you listen to this, but you have never purchased. Wait, it's the same amount.
It doesn't matter.
It'd be nice to know. I have a discount code if you've never bought before, but it is the same amount as Pumpkin Boy.
Yeah. Pumpkin Boy is the current discount code for the podcast audience. Use it if you shop. If you want to pay per episode of the podcast that you've listened to and you've listened to all of them, it's 20 cents to buy one t-shirt, which again, like we don't do advertisements because you guys buy t-shirts. If every person who listens to this
support other things we do.
Yes.
But right now, the thing that is you can support is the shop.
But if every person that listens to this episode right now buys a t-shirt, it would be the hands down best-selling collection we have ever had.
Yeah.
And it would just be amazing. And so you can do that. You can save extra with the code Pumpkin Boy, all one word, obviously. And you can do that through the 15th, really the 16th in the morning if you live on the East Coast.
Right.
Or really.
Yeah. Wow. That was a good episode.
It was.
A lot of stuff.
A lot of stuff. And we met Slater, so.
It's a marker in time. We're never going back.
Never going
it's
back.
now just before Slater and after Slater.
All right. Well, thank you guys for listening, and thank you for being here. And if you are here, we know that you guys want to find language to live a more joy-filled life, and that is really awesome. So kudos to you for doing that.
Yeah. All right.
I think that's it.
Okay. I love you. Bye.